Well now, what's up, creepers? And Geekers Christie, Atari Creep. How is everyone doing today? We did a stream yesterday that was actually wicked rad. We played a bunch of guitar, we had a lot of conversations. Then we played a little bit more Thunderground to try to increase my high score for the IO High Score Squad Challenge, which I did not. But regardless, in the conversations that we're having, somebody had mentioned a Vectrex Mini. And they said, what would you think about a Vectrex Mini? And I'm like, yeah, I think it could happen. I talked about it maybe being about the size of one of those little tabletop arcades that we've been able to buy for the past however many years now. They'd asked me if I'd ever played them at Vectrex and if I enjoyed it or not. And yes, I have. If you recall my story about the TurboGrafx 16, that house is where I played the Vectrex. It was this chick I used to fuck around with. Her older brother was a fucking wicked, like at the time, Poindexter fucking nerd. Jeffrey Dahmer glasses and everything. He had one, and I would play it once in a while. I never really got into the Vectrex. I am more fascinated by it than I am eager to get my hands on one, especially now that they're so flippin' expensive, If he ever reached out to me and was like, hey, Chris, do you want mine? Of course I would take it and we would have some fun with it. But I didn't realize this is probably why they were asking. I was flopping around on the internets and I saw that Gen X Grown Up did a video about this like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. Apparently it's coming from Germany. Is that where it's coming from? I don't know. We'll have to figure that out here in a minute. But it's going to be a Kickstarter, which I know a lot of people are going to fucking cringe at. But it is what it is. I really don't know much about this. This is the first I'm reading about it, or even looking at this website. I just clicked on it from John's video, and let's move on. So if you're not familiar with the Vectrex, this is pretty much what it looked like when it first came out. It was about a foot and a quarter tall. It was a little monitor that had a video game system built into it. The cartridges went on the side, and it came with that weird controller that was very reminiscent of like an early computer controller with the real thin little, or maybe even more like a vehicle, an RC car kind of situation with 4 buttons in a line. I remember saying to them if they did make something like that, I would hope they would put the 4 buttons. I know they're probably never going to do that because it has to be the same aesthetic. I'm okay with that. But it was one of those things where a company had a whole bunch of these little vector monitors and didn't know what to do. And they're like, well, people like them dang video game things, so they made this. And you know what? I'm glad they did because it is such an anomaly. It is a fun console. It used to use, like it didn't even have color. It had an overlay, like the original Space Invaders did in some places, where they would just put an overlay over the screen so they'd be like radiance of color. You would have these big plastic overlays that would go in front of the screen per whatever game. Almost like with the Intellivision, you would have the little things for the controller. Same thing for the screen here. Every game would come with its own little deal, and it would have its own like little, it didn't change anything except for the color and gave the screen a new look. If you look real close right here, you can see the tab where it's underneath. Now, I haven't read any of this yet. I don't know. I would assume that this is going to be a digital situation. They can't. I don't know. I guess I'm 50-50. How hard would it be to do this little clear? What is it? Mylar? I don't know. It wouldn't have all these things in it. It would just be like this border and the text. Again, if you're not familiar. So let's see what they say. Stay up to date with about the Vectrex Mini is coming out. The crowdfunded. Oh man, everyone hates those words, man. That crowdfunding. Launch on Kickstarter is expected to start in November of 2025. Once the campaign ends, a few months of production will be needed before shipping the console, which makes sense. What is the price? 149 euros, which is around $175. Considering that this is a mini console that has to come with its own screen, I am going to say my initial response was to go, whoa, but it has its own screen. Probably will have HDMI out. I don't know. Let's continue reading. Including shipping costs. Okay, wonderful. That's even better. Since I believe that, most things come from overseas. But You know where I'm trying to go with that. They'll be available and blah, 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 blah for the first backers, which is cool. Is it available in my country? They just said yes. How do you know what country I'm in, you dumb fuck? But regardless, worldwide delivery is available. Cool. About the screen. What kind of screen does it use? A 5-inch AMOLED. Whatever that is, I don't care. I have heard of it. I don't need specs on it. We all know it wasn't going to be a Vector CRT. Why not a CRT? I'm not even going to answer that question. If we don't know the answer to that question by now, then go to the website and read it, because can you imagine what it would cost for them to produce CRTs just for this one little thing? Never would happen. Never would happen. Which games will be available? The Vectrex Mini will have 12 games built in. So 12, that's like that middle ground. Between 12 and 25 or so is like that perfect mix. With their physical overlays. Okay, with built-in games with their physical overlays. So they are going to go the overlay route. I mean, I know they're probably only going to be about maybe like a little bit bigger than, say, what do you call those, little note cards? You remember those? You go like that, like, oh yeah, that's my recipe. There you go. It's probably going to be about the size of that, maybe slightly bigger. But either way, okay, that's cool. I kind of dig that. I think that'll be a better aesthetic than them digitally reproducing that. Good stuff, man. Good stuff so far. It will also be possible to add more games via micro SD, which is always a smart thing because, you know, people are going to go into these things regardless. Just give them the SD card. The full list is not yet finalized, but it, you know, the feature titles from the General Consumer Electronics. That's the company that owned the CRTs and everything, and you can go into the history of it somewhere else. It's not really that important to this conversation. Can original cartridges be used on the Vectrex Mini? No. The Vectrex Mini does not have a cartridge slot, which is par for the course. You know, I don't understand where the disconnect is with people. I don't like to pick on anyone, but whenever a Mini comes out, people are like, will it have a cartridge slot? Well, no, it's a Mini. It's an all-in-one kind of fucking situation. Whereas, you know, you have the other stuff like the analogs and like the 2600 plus or something like that. It was designed to do that, you know. These minis are just to get a little box in your hand to play the damn games. They're never going to come with a cartridge slot. That's worth a damn. So, unless of course technology gets a lot cheaper for something like that. But physical anything right now is probably, you know, out of a lot of fucking house reaches. You know, out of reach for a lot of people. But about the Vectrex, excuse me, I got a sore thing here. Got hit in the face with my guitar earlier. So I'm a little ow! The mini version makes the console more accessible and allows, yeah, we get that. I'm sure you've read all this. In addition, the compact size of the Vectrex Mini, with its 5-inch screen, optimized for the best quality display, blah, 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 blah. It makes sure that the games look good and you can play it. Do you plan on other... do you plan other projects around the Vectrex? What other projects could they do? I don't know. We have many ideas and projects in mind. Oh, okay. As we are above all passionate about the Vectrex, you know, it is what it is. But all right, here you go. I'm going to sign up for the newsletter right now. Bam! See that? I just signed up. There we go. I'm going to be part of the newsletter stuffs. So you can come down here and, you know, do all the things with that. I've already clicked on the Kickstarter. Now, I don't know if it's not showing me anything because I'm not logged in. Maybe. I don't even know if I have a Kickstarter account. But either way, one person has backed it. I don't even think it's ready to go yet, right? Oh, it's coming from France. Okay. Why do they think Germany? I don't know. But either way, guys, that's all I really wanted to talk about. I just wanted to show this off right here and just say, you know what? I'm quasi-excited. It obviously will probably be nothing I'll get my hands on anytime soon. Just money reasons, you know. But I just realized I don't even have my hat on. That's how excited I was to come in here and talk about this with you. So, guys, let me know in the comments what you think. Go ahead, you know, the thumbs up, thumbs down. I haven't said that in a long time. All feedback is positive. And wherever in the world you are, I hope you're doing well. Until next time, take care, keep it real, and bye-bye. Yeah, this This is pretty cool. I dig this. I like this a lot.